So Shivani, I have set a time to this watch. You don't know what time it is, and I want you to say any time that you want, and I can promise you that hopefully you're the first person in the world also who's getting to see this. So if this fails, it's completely on you. And you can go exact. What time do you think I have set to this watch?
6.
6 o'clock exact. Do you want to stick with that? Do you want to change your mind? Completely up to you.
Do I want to see
It's completely up to you what you want to do.
6 o'clock?
6 o'clock exact. That's what you want to go with. There's no way I could have influenced you. There's no way I could have forced you to say that 6 o'clock is what you ended up with. I set a time to the watch before we started, which happens to be
Yay!
6 o'clock exact. Hi, I'm Karan Singh Magic, and I'm a psychological illusionist. I mix modern magic with traditional psychology, and when you fuse the two, you can give the illusion that you read minds. I've studied, not professionally, but I've read books on psychology, on what people look like when they're lying, what people act like in certain circumstances, and you mix all of that, and you come up with this weird sort of art form, and you call yourself a psychological illusionist. So yeah, that's pretty much what I do. People are very, very easily influenced, be it through language, be it through behavior of some kind. For example, let me try something for everybody who's watching the interview. That'll be more fun. If you're watching right now, do this for me. Put your hand on your head. Generally, do this. If you're watching at home, put your hand on your head. Put your hand on your chest. Generally, do that. And now put your hand on your wrist. Now that's your elbow, not your wrist. Now you just do that because I talk to people like that and they follow along the first two actions. And then the last action, instead of listening to my voice, they follow the visuals that they're getting. So it is so easy for me to influence someone based on that. And imagine if I was using that for nefarious means. If I was on stage and telling, oh, I am psychic or I'm a god man or something, give me all your belongings, feed sugar to ants outside your house, and all your problems will go away. Just based on that language and telling them that I am that person who can do that, using a simple sort of conjuring trick and then mixing that with NLP, mixing that with the idea of language and programming the brain in a particular way, people will be easily influenced. Getting somebody to think of a particular time on a watch, and then I say, okay, this is the time that I've set to the watch, the time that you've really thought of. But that's actually a thought that I have planted in your mind. Now, there are two ways that I could take it. One of them could be just for entertainment purposes. I could take it in the direction of that I've planted a thought in your mind, and this is proof that I've planted a thought in your mind. Or I could plant a thought in your mind and then pretend to read your mind, knowing that you're already thinking of what I want you to think. There is this entire conspiracy theory that the assassination of Bobby Kennedy was done by a man called Sirhan, who till this date believes that he was hypnotized into it and he has no recollection of the incident whatsoever. And he's been proven correct through lie detection that, and other means as well, that he is telling the truth, that he doesn't have any recollection of it. However, there were countless eyewitnesses who saw him pull the trigger. But he says that he was hypnotized into it. So, in a way, he was coerced into killing Bobby Kennedy and at the same time coerced into believing that he won't remember that he's done it. That is a negative way of influencing someone, but there can be positive ways as well. I think there's a difference within the audience. There are different minds. So everybody, let's say there's an audience of 100 people. There are 30 people who think similarly, other 30 who think differently, and the remaining think very differently. There will be a group who's just come to the show knowing that I'm lying to them, knowing that I'm trying to trick them. And their only task will be to try to figure out how a particular trick is done. At the same time, there will be a set of people who will come just to be entertained. There will be a set of people who will just want to laugh, be astonished, go home and tell their friends about it. That will be their sole motive, which is the ideal audience. Then there'll be another set of people who want to be entertained, but they don't want to figure out how a particular thing is done, but they'll buy into whatever I tell them. That is the kind of group which is susceptible to hypnosis, susceptible to subliminal messaging. Those are the kind of people you can say anything to, and you can influence them to do anything. Those are the kind of people I get on stage for my acts because I know that they'll comply with whatever I want them to. So it is the sort of thing that I have become used to, looking at an audience and knowing who might be the person who'll follow my instructions. And it's my job by the end of the show to make the entire audience that set of people. I think it happens ever since you're born. You're told that, oh, you have to sleep at 8 o'clock. And you go to sleep at 8 o'clock. You have to, for example, me being a Sikh, I was told the entire time, oh, you have to wear a turban. So there was a point in my life that I continued doing that simply because I was told to by a father figure. And you get instilled with a belief, you get instilled with a certain philosophy of life. And that's what you apply outside as well. So if there is someone, let's take the example of India right now, if I've been given a certain ideology in my head that, oh, this is right, this is wrong, one religion is better than the other, and if there's a leader who comes out and says, echoes my thoughts, it'll be very natural for me to follow that as well. But at the same time, if I'm confused about it, if I'm not sure if, let's take the fact of religion again, if one religion is better than the other, I'm confused about that thought, and one person comes out and echoes that belief that yes, a particular religion is better than the other, then automatically you get swayed towards that because that is a solution to your confusion. For me, what is most important is when I look into the audience, I know which set of people are thinking which way because I'm used to it. Maybe it's second nature. I'm not really thinking about it and categorizing people and judging them the moment I see them. But I think I'm just used to it in a particular way that I know how somebody might think. For example, if there's somebody in the audience who's constantly heckling, there's somebody in the audience who's constantly saying, oh, this is how the trick is done, or if I was on stage, you wouldn't be able to read my mind. The only thing that person needs is a little bit of attention. So if you give that person that attention of coming up on stage and then doing a trick, you achieve 2-3 things at the same time. One of them is this person gets his 3 seconds of fame on stage. The other one is, in a way, you put the heckler down in the best way you possibly can by getting him on stage and proving him wrong based on everything that he's saying. So it's a win-win situation. And that is empathizing with that person because of his need for attention in that particular moment. If there is someone who is echoing opinions which you don't agree with, all they want probably is an audience that they can talk to. So hear them out instead of putting them down instantly. Let's say they echo an opinion which you don't believe in at all. They say something, let them finish. They might be saying something completely stupid, completely out of the book that you read from, out of the book that you believe in. But if they say something, it doesn't mean that they're wrong. It is their opinion. You might not agree with that opinion, be it whatever. Talk to them, hear them out. And in a way, you build a bit of an empathy. And that's not just for a particular, the right wing as we call it, it's not just that. There are liberals, there are other people who as well, who just fail to listen to what anybody else is saying just because it doesn't agree with their ideologies. The other people are allowed to have their ideologies. The same way anyone is free to believe in any religion, free to wear whatever they want. They're free to have any political opinions, anything, any kind of opinion that they want. And it's not your job to make anybody else confer with your opinions. It's not your job to make other people feel that just because your opinion is this, it's the only correct opinion. I think what happens is if you meet somebody new, for example, if I have to go out on a date or even go for a meeting where I'm just there to chill, people will be slightly wary because they think I can figure out what they're thinking at any given point of time, which is not true. I'm not on a date and trying to figure out what the other person's thinking, more often than not. But they will be wary. They will be in a zone where they think that, oh, I should mind my P's and Q's. But it's not like that. I think that is slightly weird for me to deal with. I won't call it scary. It's slightly weird for me to deal with, to convince the other person that I'm not reading your mind constantly. I'm not influencing you constantly. I'm just trying to have a coffee. And the other thing where what has magic impacted my own thoughts as, I think when you get into magic, you start thinking that you'll be able to do fantastic things. You can make something disappear and make it appear at another place. You can fly. You can figure out what somebody else is thinking. You start almost thinking of yourself as a superhero. But then you start realizing that behind those fantastic illusions, there's always a very silly trick behind it. The method of it is almost childishly simple. So you know that being a superhero isn't real. You can't make something disappear. You can't fly. You can't read somebody's mind. You can't do the most fantastic of things which other people might think that you can do. So because of that, you automatically become more of a logical thinker. You want a logical explanation to something. You want a logical answer to why am I looking up to something and believing in something which I can't see, touch or feel. Why is it something that's just somebody's told me and there's no logical explanation for it? Why is it that I should believe in it? So I think that is one of those major things that happens. Logically, you get to see anything that's happening wrong in the world. You sort of take a step back and you see it from a third person's point of view. And you logically think of why a particular thing is happening and is it right or is it wrong? And then you automatically form an opinion which will be more sort of logically inclined as opposed to emotionally inclined. The mindset was never that this is all I want to do. It wasn't like I set a goal and I work towards it and now I'm basking in the glory of it, which is what self-help books will tell you to do. That you set a goal, you set your mind to it, you work towards it, and then you'll be a successful person. But the fact of the matter is that somebody who's not as successful has probably done the same thing, set a goal, worked towards it, and maybe failed to achieve it. The only difference is that that person doesn't have a book. So I never have set a goal. My mental space, my mind has always been that, okay, this is happening, let's do it. My mind tells me, okay, this has come up, for example, this interview has come up, and I enjoy the kind of questions that are being thrown at me, so I would do it. But if my mind in the particular moment tells me that, okay, this is not something that I want to do, then maybe I wouldn't do it. So my mindset has really been one of take it as it comes, because that's the only way I've ever lived my life. Magic was an accident for me. And after that, 16 years have been accident after accident after accident. Happy accidents at that. And it's worked so far, so there's no other reason why it shouldn't continue working. And that's the only way I think I know how to live. And that's how you should hopefully set your mind as well. And maybe that will work for you too. I'll be romanticizing, but I think the way the country is going over the last 7 or 8 years, just based on the entertainment field, I think the only way is up, because 7, 8 years ago, you wouldn't hear of a bunch of teenagers willingly spending 500 rupees to go and watch a comedy show, or willingly spending 500 rupees to go watch a theatre play. But that's happening now. It's largely down to comedy, and that's the reason it's happening. But there will come a point where I think people will get bored of comedy. There will come a point where people will want to explore other art forms. I think it's already happening. And I am just waiting there, waiting for people to move on to the other art form and come to me and watch me perform and watch other magicians, mentalists, and illusionists perform as well. Because it's, I think, in my head, maybe it's again me romanticizing about my own art form, but I think it's the most intellectually stimulating art form there is, because it's the only art form that'll make you think, it'll make you laugh, even if you're thinking how the trick is done. It is a conversation that you're having. If you go for a comedy show, there might be conversations that you have that, oh, this part was funny, that part was funny, and what this person said about that was nice. But with a magic show, there'll also be, oh, how was it done? And you're thinking and all. I always have this image of a household sitting around a fireplace and discussing how a particular trick is done. In my head, that is the future of magic in India without the fire because it's too hot. Just sitting around maybe a tandoor and butter chicken and discussing on how it's done and discussing how good an art form it is, how beautiful an art form it is. The only way is up. We've started open mics. We've started a lot of magicians doing solo shows every month or so. So I think that'll grow. I think that'll become so big that it'll become India being the land of magic again, because it was that centuries ago. But it somewhere got lost, and I think we'll get that back one day. So this is based on the concept of lying, and if I can figure out when and how you lie. Firstly, it's very important we haven't set anything up. I haven't told you, please help me out or anything of that sort, yes? So pick one for me, firstly, any card that you like. Have a look at it, remember it, show it to the camera as well if you want to. Right? Done?
Yeah.
Put the card back in. And shuffle the cards in. Now, fair to say there's absolutely no way I can know what card you've just selected. Right? You could have picked anyone, and I'm going to get you to do this. I'm going to ask you a few questions firstly. Be as honest as you can. What's your full name?
Shivani Karmarkar.
And what phone do you use, Shivani?
OnePlus.
And how long have you had that phone?
Couple of months.
Couple of months. And do you have a password on that phone?
Yes.
Okay. And have you had that password just for a couple of months, or have you used that password elsewhere as well?
Elsewhere as well.
Okay. Now, the reason I ask these questions is to develop what you call a baseline. Now I know what you look like when you're telling the truth. So if you lie, your basic expressions will change. And based on that, I'll try and figure out when you're lying or when you're telling the truth. Now, I'm going to ask you questions about your card, the card that you picked. It's up to you. You want to lie, you lie. You want to tell the truth, you tell the truth. Completely up to you. And based on your expressions, I'll try and figure out if you're lying or telling the truth. Right? So there are black cards and red cards. What's the color of your card?
Black.
Black. You thought for a second and then you said black, and there was a little bit of a nod that you did as well, almost as if you're overemphasizing the fact that it's black. And the only time you'll overemphasize is when you're trying to catch me out, so I'm guessing that's a lie, and you're thinking of a red card. So if it's a red card, is it a heart or a diamond?
Heart.
Okay, when you said black the last time, you broke eye contact for a second, and you went black and then you nodded. This time you came right out and you said red. The only time you'll come right out and say something is when you know the truth and you don't have to form a lie in your head. So you said heart instantly. So I'm guessing that's the truth this time, and it is a heart. Right? So is it a number card or a picture card?
Picture card.
Okay, now you know what I'm doing. So we'll do that one more time.
I didn't do that on purpose.
That's fine. We'll do that one more time. That's the best. I want you to do what comes naturally. So is it a number card or a picture card?
Picture card.
Okay, I think I am inclined to believe you. I think it might be a picture card. Can you say Jack, Queen, King out loud?
You want me to say all three?
Yes.
Jack, Queen, King.
I'll say them in any order.
Jack, Queen, King, King, Queen, Jack, Jack, Queen, King, 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 Jack, Jack, Queen, Queen.
Okay, you said King, King, Jack, Jack, Queen, Queen the last time, which I think is the most important. You ignored the Queen. And the only reason you'd ignore it is because you know that that's not important, so it won't be the Queen. You said King twice and Jack twice. Can you say Jack and King one more time?
Jack and King.
Can you say King and Jack?
King and Jack.
Can you say 11 and 13?
11 and 13.
I'll say 13 and 11.
13 and 11.
Now I'm going to say, is your card the Jack of Hearts? I'm going to say, is your card the King of Hearts? Both the times just say yes.
Okay.
Regardless of what it is. Is it the Jack of Hearts?
Yes.
Is it the King of Hearts?
Yes.
One more time. Is it the Jack of Hearts?
Yes.
Is it the King of Hearts?
Yes.
Is it the King of Hearts?
Yes.
Is it the Jack of Hearts?
Yes. Is it hard?
Okay, I think I know what this is. The card that you picked, and be honest this time, is the King of Hearts, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, was that a show? Like we like.
Of course it was.
When did you know?
I knew the moment you picked it. No, I knew when you said picture, I think. Yeah, the rest of it was just to make you feel involved.
Nice. Well done.
Thank you.